process in the food process, seasoning, and you add what to it? Remember? Egg white and heavy cream. Alright? So instead of a horse meat that has pork fat in it, we're going to be using a lighter protein and adding heavy cream to it to make it a slightly different textured product. Right? So mousseline is made from seafood, it can be made from chicken or veal or lighter proteins. And once again, instead of pork, we're using heavy cream. Now we use heavy cream for a fat, we're adding some fat to it, but we're also adding a lot of moisture to it as well, right? 40% milk fat, right? 60% liquid. So it's going to lighten the product up a little bit, make it very soft, almost spongy when you cook it, right? Is that kind of how it ended up when you were done? Now, to do that, we're going to, instead of using a grinder, we're going to be using a food processor. Alright? Now, our food processor, we need to make sure it's nice and cold before we start. So I like to ice it down, put some ice in it, and get it nice and cold. Or you can put it in the freezer either way. Alright? So if I need you to dump that ice out, alright, just keep the plate. Now, I have two pieces of equipment that look very similar in here. One's a blixer, that blixer on it. The other is a regular robo. Unfortunately, they're made by the same company and the parts are almost interchangeable. But they're not supposed to be. So, for example, the blixer is a high-speed robo, so it rotates very quickly. And the lid is actually clamped down on this blixer. And it's got a very tall gray blade in here. It has a bowl that has a scraper on it that scrapes the side as it rotates around, which is kind of a neat thing. Alright? And it mounts like this. The regular robo-coo that most people are familiar with, the bowl just kind of slides on there and locks in that way. And the blade is shorter, and it goes on a dark gray base instead of a light gray base. So you just robo-coo on it. If you get one of these pieces mixed up, and put it in here, and they will almost fit. Maybe it's this one that fits in here. But when you put the wrong blade in the wrong one, it will tear up the lid and scrape this up every time you replace these beads. So what I want you to do, because you haven't used them a lot, is I want you to use one or the other. Just show me that when you're done, make sure you have the right pieces on the right face. That's all I ask. Okay? Okay. So here's our blixer. They took the salmon, filleted both sides, both fillets off, and then scraped the carcass with a spoon. On one piece of fish, we took about that much of the tail off, which usually can go here anyway. And we put it in here too. So this is a lot of scrap product from the salmon. In fact, we ended up with just over a pound of scrap product. Right. Now, remember I talked about garmages, about utilizing scrap and turning it into something nice, right? So this is, a lot of people would just end up throwing this away. Right? After they take the fillets off, they take the carcass and they toss it. So we're actually going to take the flesh. We're going to add 1 egg white to it. So 1 pound of flesh, 1 egg white, and this recipe is in your packet under Mousseline. Right? 1 egg white, 1 pound of flesh, 1 teaspoon of salt, and then we're going to process this. Wipe it down. Turn it on. Okay. Scrape the sides just one more time. Let it go again. Short time. Okay. Good. Make sure it's nice and processed, really fine. And then we're going to start to add our fat. Why didn't I add our heavy cream earlier?
Would have whipped.
Would over whip. And separate the fat from the liquid. It would have a big grainy mess on it.
Like butter and water.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to add 8 ounces of cream. Sides one more time. Good. It's all incorporated. So now we have this nice salmon ice cream looking consistency. Actually, maybe you throw a scoop of ice in there for me? Good. So now we have this nice smooth product, but there still could be a couple small chunks of salmon here, connective tissue, maybe a scale too. We're actually going to go through a tammy. Tammy is a screen. Mold. Put it on ice so it stays nice and cold all the way through the process. Using the flat side of this bench tray, we take this. You see all the little chunks there that didn't make it through? All the tendons, all the pieces, I got all that stuff out. Alright? So, kind of loosen the edge here of the tammy so we get the bowl out. All came through on the other side. Nice pack. So we put it all through here so it's all clean. Looking good.